In 2023, West Ham become champions of Europe. Well, kind of. They won the Europa Conference League, which is a massive achievement for them and their biggest trophy since 1980 when they last won the FA Cup. Last season, they qualified into the Europa League, but after failing to finish in the European position and not winning that competition, it is time to rebuild West Ham back into a European side again, and all while using brand new manager Julen Lopetegui's tactics and some of the insane new signings they've made in real life. Now, this is the first time when I've done one of these one-season rebuilds I have had to use the in-game editor to make this squad because West Ham have gone absolutely mental. First of all, signing Nicholas Füllkrug, absolutely unbelievable in Euro 2024, signed from Borussia Dortmund. He's a big, powerful striker, 16 finishing, 16 heading, not too slow either, and got great work rate, bravery, and determination. At right back, it looks like Aaron Wan-Bissaka will be coming in, leaving Manchester United and joining West Ham. He looks like I mean, we know how good he is defensively. It's going forward where the issues are, but hopefully in this West Ham system, he will be okay. I imagine we'll swap this wing back on attack to wing back on support and get the best out of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Max Kilman, for me, is a fantastic left-footed centre-back signed from Wolves, and again, absolutely fantastic piece of business. And as you look at this West Ham side of Areola in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Zuma, Kilman, Emerson, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, Bowen, Kudus and Füllkrug all set up in the Julen Lopetegui sort of 4-3-3 / goes into a bit of a sort of change actually. Alvarez will drop in to a middle centre-back. Emerson will bomb right on with that right side of centre-back and create almost a 5-2-3, and it'll be some beautiful, beautiful football. We are set to keep the ball played on the wings, etc. Don't worry, we'll go for the tactics at some point. Once I know I have got them mastered, we've got an attacking variation and a defensive one as well. But that isn't where the signings finish, because we've got the likes of Cisco Somerville, signed from Leeds United, 25 million. Outrageous speed to come off the bench on that left-hand side, or if Kudus or Bowen get injured, we know we've got someone more than good enough to compete down that wing position. And if that all wasn't good enough, they've also done a fantastic, experienced Argentinian central defensive midfielder in Guido Rodriguez, and complete hats off to West Ham. They have smashed it this season. They've noticed they've fallen out of European competitions and they want to get back into it. And what better way to improve the squad the way they have done? I think Füllkrug is an A-star signing. Absolutely fantastic. Same goes for Max Kilman, Wan-Bissaka. I think Guido Rodriguez is a great rotation option with Alvarez and Somerville. Well, if you get injuries to Bowen or Kudus, or if Paqueta does end up leaving in the simulation, I have kept him in the squad and Kudus moves into more of a midfield role, you've got yourself Somerville there who can fit right in that wing position. Very exciting for West Ham fans, and as mentioned, I've had to use the editor to actually get players like Füllkrug to join West Ham, because according to FM, no chance. In real life, fair play. Now, in terms of the Premier League, this season we were predicted to come down in 9th place, and to be honest, that's pretty much where they finished, in 9th place. Quite a way off getting into European football on just 52 points. I'm looking to do much more than that, and I'm not making any more signings because they've gone so mental in the last few days. I've had to already simulate this rebuild once, where we come 6th last time where I made my own signings. Well, now West Ham have got actual signings that they've made in real life, and they're all insane. So let's see how we get on in this simulation. And well, there is going to be absolutely no messing about. We are going to jump straight into the season. Our first game was away from home against newly promoted Southampton, and we absolutely battered them. Goals from Joe Bowen and our brand new striker Nicholas Füllkrug made us 2-0 leaders, and in game number 2 was Spurs. This was our first real test of the season, and we sort of bottled it. To kick things off, Zuma gave it straight to Youngman's son to make us 1-0 down in just 4 minutes, but never fear, because we are going to play some fantastic football and score some screamers. Emerson scores to make it 1-1 before Spurs peg us back yet again. James Maddison getting down that right hand side, beating Paqueta in the box and finding Basuma to tap home for 2-1. And well, Spurs are a team that I'm looking to compete with this season, so a 2-2 draw seems about fair. A ball whipped in, you can see our big new striker Nicholas Füllkrug get on the end of a fantastic cross from Emerson to make this game 2-2. Completely even on shots, they had one more on target, and possession-wise, it just fell to us, and that was the more defensive, more sort of counter-attacking variation we used. And it's safe to say it worked quite well. It didn't work quite as well away from home against Aston Villa, but as we know, Villa are a squad that are also challenging for top 4 places. We lost 1-0 thanks to an 81st minute Ollie Watkins goal, and I'm sure when we take it back to the London Stadium, we'll get our 3 points of our own. However, to finish off the month of August, we decided to go for it and use our attacking system against Nottingham Forest. Now, out in this system. We will score lots of goals. We will also concede a fair few goals. But 1-0 down, don't worry. Fulkrug's there with his big head to make it 1-1. He's going to bail us out quite a few times this season, I imagine. A great ball at the top from Hudson-Odoi to find Gibbs-White and finds Taiwo Awoniyi. You can see that high line becoming a little bit susceptible there after a long ball over the top. That is something we will look to counteract. Bowen finds Paqueta, a great ball through to find Danny Ings to make it 2-2. And don't worry, the 3 points are staying with West Ham. Danny Ings and Kudus linking up before Ings sets it back in the middle to Kudus to make it 3-2 and get 3 points to the mighty Hammers, which means in the Premier League season so far we have used all 3 tactics and we are sitting in 8th place on 7 points, level with 5th, looking to chase down the top 4 and the mighty Southampton, I suppose, that are sitting in 4th place. They've got their 1 loss, obviously, to us, but it's safe to say a pretty good start to the season, especially as we are also going to the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup after beating newly promoted Ipswich 2-0. And when our first game in September was going to be played up against Bournemouth away from home, and this was our last game where I could actually see us winning, because up next was Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, a ridiculous run of games. So grabbing 3 points here was pivotal, and James Ward-Prowse made it possible with a screamer from the edge of the box, making it 1-1. For Paqueta, had a great ball up wide to Emerson. Them attacking wing-backs are superb, makes it 2-1, and it's safe to say a good 3 points gained. And we'll certainly take this point as well. At home against Arsenal, again in our more sort of reserved defensive system, we drew 1-1. Jarrod Bowen scored in the 22nd, Saka in the 8th. We had more shots, more on target. They dominated possession as expected, but when we got the ball, we were fast, we were dangerous, and a great point coming back to West Ham. Before, sadly, back-to-back losses against Manchester City, first up in the Carabao Cup 3rd round. To get drawn against City away from home is unfair, and especially when Yan Couto is leaving to join Dortmund in real life. Does this game know nothing about realism? Well, I mean, even without Yan Couto scoring, we still lost 1-0 to Manchester City, this time to Erling Haaland. 1-0 though, away from home at the Etihad. We can't really complain about that one. Kudus got sent off in the 79th, and we still kept it tight, which is hopefully going to be good for our goal difference, because you never know if we might need that later on in the season. And well, next up was Chelsea, and this was 3 points I actually think we could certainly get. So Jarrod Bowen on the edge of the box scores an absolute screamer. Own goal from Chalobah, deflects in, no chance for Robert Sanchez. Chelsea then knocking the ball about very nicely with their new manager Enzo Maresca, and then Nkunku finishes past Areola. But 3 points were going to be ours as we scored in the 47th minute. Ward-Prowse gets it down, dribbles past 1, dribbles past 2, gets into the box and grabs another, beating Robert Sanchez, and West Ham run away with a lead after being, to be fair, a little bit dominated by Chelsea. They had more shots, more on target, more XG, more possession, but the full-time whistle is what matters, and the result was 2-1. And again, we really can't be unhappy at this sort of result. A 1-0 loss to Liverpool away from home at Anfield. Cody Gakpo getting on the score sheet. Certainly looking like we can semi-compete with the bigger sides. And we cemented that as well with another Nicholas Fulkrug header and a 1-0 victory over Manchester United. We've got a pretty good way of scoring goals. Give it to the big guy up top. And when we look through the schedule, that ridiculous run of games, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, to come away with that with 7 points and just 7 dropped, half the points facing all the big sides, and still sitting in touching distance for the Premier League title, really. Just 6 points away, 3 points away from top 4. The league is incredibly close this season, and we are one of the teams that are contending. And we are going to prove exactly that, going on a run of form that can only be described as incredible. A 1-0 victory away from home against Fulham, before facing Everton at home, where yes, they are going to go a goal ahead thanks to that man Jimmy Garner making it 1-0. But Lucas Paqueta, just before the halftime whistle, got us back on level terms, and he made it 2-1 as well, scoring another from the spot before the 92nd minute. Ward-Prowse whips it in, it goes to Kurt Zouma, it drops out to Kudus, and 3-1. That is 6 points from 6 in November. Make that 9 from 9 after another 3 secured away against Brentford. And 12 from 12. 4 games, 4 victories in November. All easily done. A 2-0 against Ipswich. And it was showing against the sides we could be beating or potentially should be beating. We were good enough to beat them. And a great month in November. Could we carry on in December? Well, it started with a 3-1 loss against Palace. And I was worried it was just a good month. But we bounced back with a hard-fought victory victory, a 1-0 against Newcastle, with that man Nicholas Füllkrug yet again getting on the score sheet before beating Leicester 2-1. The exact same away from home against Brighton, who we've rebuilt the other day. So if you want to see a Brighton rebuild, check out the channel and go to there. And while you're there, you might as well subscribe. Before the 19th game of the season, halfway through the Premier League, we faced up against Wolves at home, and we absolutely battered them. Kudus 1-0. Ward-Prowse free kick. That was always going to be 2-0, wasn't it? A screamer in off the crossbar. But don't worry, there is a man who hasn't scored yet who wants to grab a hat-trick. A cross from Wan-Bissaka. A header from Nicholas Füllkrug, making it 3-0. Kilman then finds an outrageous ball out wide to Wan-Bissaka, who has been doing very well going forward, especially with his crosses into that man's head. Nicholas Füllkrug making it 2-0. And guess what? How's a hat-trick of headers? Creswell whips it in. He's there again. A 5-0 battering of Wolves. And Nicholas Füllkrug, 19 games in the Premier League. He has got 11 goals, 1 assist. And that 16 heading, that 16 jumping reach, it's absolutely broken. And it's led West Ham all the way to the top of the Premier League table halfway into the season. Now, yes, Liverpool have got a game in hand. I couldn't care less. 41 points in 19 games. We're safe already. We could lose every single game and we are safe. Now, it has helped the fact we haven't got European football in this second half of the season. Will we drop down in form a little bit as the games get a little bit more compact? Very, very possibly. But that is a pretty good start to the season. And after this insane run of form, I mean, 8 wins out of 9 games, I think it's safe to say we have to show you the tactics we have created. Number one, we're going to go through the standard tactic. The attacking and defensive are available exclusively to Patreon members, so there is lots of different roles. That'll be linked down below. And massive thank yous to legends on screen right now that are subscribed to the Patreon. £5 a month, you get yourself every single rebuild file that goes live. Every single tactic we make is instantly downloadable down there as well. And trust me, you want to get yourself your hands on these West Ham Lopetegui tactics. Tactic number one, however, we will go through as it is the standard one. It is Areola in goal, sweeper keeper on defend, with Wan-Bissaka as a wing back on support. On the right hand side, of cross more often and stay wider. And guess what? On the left hand side, cross more often and stay wider, but a wing back on attack. These two are your main outlet for goals. So you want to be crossing as much as possible because we've got the big man in the middle. So someone like Aaron Creswell, who is our backup left back, is more than good enough. 14 crossing, great speed in him as well. But if we were to swap him out for Emerson, who is looking at outrageous speed at 15 apiece, 14 crossing, 14 dribbling, well, we're going to be scoring a ridiculous amount of goals. I mean, you've seen Wan-Bissaka cross the ball in like an absolute king. Just whip it in, he'll head it home. Wing back on attack on the left, on support on the right. 2 ball players on defend, left and right, both with stay wider because we have a half-back on defend in the middle of the DM spot because he's going to be dropping in to make that free back system, making it that lovely build-up play. No further instructions added onto him. We have a box-to-box midfielder on the right-hand side of take more risks and tackle harder, with an advanced playmaker on the left-hand side, rowing from position and tackling harder. An inverted winger on support on the left-hand side of cross less often, rowing from position and sit narrower, and the right-hand side of sit narrower, tackle harder and shoot more often. You want these two sort of sitting in this middle central role, or the wing-backs bob on forward. I mean, Somerville on cross less often means he's going to set it back to someone like Emerson. Somerville only 11 crossing, Emerson 14. It works an absolute treat with this team, and a target forward on attack up front, being aggressive with close down more and tackle harder. We are set to a positive mentality as well, and in possession we are on the middle, on the width, with player defence overlap left and right again, you know, getting their wing backs going forward and whipping their balls into the box. A shorter passing directness and a slow tempo with whipped crosses on. We aren't looking to, you know, counter attack teams and go absolutely crazy. Looking to keep possession, and when we can, just whip the ball in hard and fast, and Füllkrug will do the business and put it in the back of the net. We're counter pressing, and as mentioned, we are not countering. We are taking short kicks to the centre backs and building out from the back. And our possession is trapping them outside a high defensive line, a high press system. But on the trigger press, something you don't really see too much, we are trigger and press slightly less often. We are looking to keep the base 4-3-3 system and only press when we can. And that'll be Füllkrug in the front on close down more, just running around and being annoying to other teams, getting involved, getting in their faces, and hopefully that will make mistakes, and then when we can see a good trap, we will do it. Very good system in this one. As mentioned, the other two are absolutely influential as well. There are slight tweaks, and we use them in loads of different games. As mentioned, I play every single game in these one season rebuilds, and I used all three pretty much evenly, 13, 13 and 12. It was a fantastic season, so let's get straight into the second half of it now. And well, it was certainly going to be hard to keep that top spot in the Premier League, and that was shown here away from home. A 95th minute Rodrigo Bentancur goal, making us 1-0 losers. Incredibly frustrating. 95th minute. That'd have been a great point. But it looks like we saved our goals for the next two games, as this was a 4-2 victory against Southampton. Before we faced up against Aston Villa, a team that beat us 1-0 earlier on in the season, we were looking to get our own back, and Jarrod Bowen, well, he scored a screamer in just 19 minutes to make the game 1-0. But Aston Villa were not going to go down lightly. A defensive mistake from Nayef Aguerd found Ollie Watkins, and it was 1-1. But luckily, we were a strong side. You can see them overlapping fullbacks with Emerson getting in the box. It falls to Kudus, and he makes it 2-1. How does 3-1 sound? Emerson again driving down the left-hand side, getting to the byline, cutting it back in to Fulkrug, who will always put it into the back of the net. He is an absolute man on a mission this season to become the Premier League top goal scorer. Aaron Ramsey to the left-hand side for Aston Villa cuts it into Coutinho to make it 3-2. But we wanted the last laugh and the last goal, as Creswell whipped it in, and another header from Kurt Zouma. And when after back-to-back 4-2 victories, them two goals we conceded again, this time against Nottingham Forest, and actually conceded 5 at home against Bournemouth. Now, they only had 6 shots on target, and Areola just saved one of them and got a 5.9 average rating. So a bit of an odd game in this one. We went in the all-out attacking system. It didn't really work too well. We got a little bit dominated. In the first half, they were 2-0 up, and we tried to go for it and stayed in the attacking formation, and it just ended up not quite working. They scored in the 87th and 91st to get that 4th and 5th goal. Sadly, quite a humbling defeat there. But up next, it's the FA Cup, and a trophy we severely wanted to win this season. And exactly like the Carabao Cup, we were drawn up against a very strong side away from home early on. This time Chelsea, where we actually made the first leg 1-1, which means we go into a second. And when at the London Stadium, it was 2 of our big men that got the goals. Aguerd found Thomas Souček to make it 1-0 early on in the 20th minute. Before that man, Nicholas Fulkrug, of course, getting on the score sheet yet again. Mo Kudus playing out wide. Somerville, a great ball. Fulkrug beating the defence and making it 2-0, firing past the goalkeeper. Chelsea then making it 2-1, making it a little bit tighter, but we were through to the next round. We faced up against Brighton, and there was absolutely no resting players in this one. It is a trophy we really do want to win. I want to walk away with a trophy won, and Nicholas Fulkrug made it possible 1-0 in just 20 minutes before a second coming from that man, Lucas Paqueta. Technically an own goal from Van Hecke, but a great effort from a long distance out. Ward-Prowse then found Somerville, who grabbed another goal for his season, making it 3-0. And in the 93rd minute, Creswell whipped in, an unbelievable ball headed out to Mo Kudus, and it was 4-0 in the end. But you could just see that cross more often, that stay wider, the fullbacks just pump balls into the box, which is why Fulkrug has been so deadly. But we are through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, and it's quite a favourable draw as well, at home to Burnley, so hopefully we can lift the competition in this save. The Premier League is going to be very difficult. We are in second place. Liverpool have 2 games in hand on us. We are on 47 points. Still an unbelievable season so far. Let's see though, as we get into the final 14 games of the season, can we keep up the chase for a Champions League spot? And what up next was our crazy run of form, exactly like we had in the first half of the season. First up, a 0-0 draw away from home against Arsenal with a red card. Again, a pretty good result. And next up was Manchester City, where I was thinking we were going to grab 3 points after losing narrowly 1-0 to them earlier in the season after a great goal from James Ward-Prowse. But the robot man, Erling Haaland, broke our hearts in the 48th minute, finishing the game off at 1-1. And after that was Chelsea, who I'll go through in a minute. I've got a pretty ridiculous player playing in right wing, but can we get the victory over them first off? Away from home, Mo Kudus makes it 1-0. You might have just seen his name there. Lionel Messi's at Chelsea. Well, he whipped it in and they made it 1-1 after his magical touch, but we had our own magical touch for our own. 97th minute, Edson Alvarez fires in from distance and we win the game 2-1. What on earth is happening here? Messi, what are you doing? Why are you taunting us in the Premier League? Chelsea currently are a massive rival to get in to the European places. They are just 3 points away from us. We have got a game in hand, but they've got Messi. I mean, that can't be fair, especially as we lost our next game 2-0 to Manchester United. I felt like the pressure of Messi is going to weigh heavy on our shoulders. We have got not many games left in the Premier League season, just 10 to go, and we're going to do a full 10-game run through now. We are just 7 points off the league. We are only in Europe by 2 points. We are away from the Champions League by 3 points. By Nottingham Forest, who are having a pretty good season of their own. We have got a lot to do in this last 10 games. Luckily, we have placed pretty much all of the big sides. We've got Fulham, we have got Brentford, Liverpool, Ipswich, Everton, Newcastle, Palace, Leicester, Brighton, Wolves. We are into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup as well after beating Burnley 2-0. You never guess what it was. 2 headers from Kurt Zouma and Nicholas Füllkrug. So we've also got a quarterfinal, which is up against Manchester United, which, after losing 2-0 to them there, I'm not the most confident on. And the final 10 games of the Premier League season. Can we get West Ham back under the nice Tuesday, Wednesday nights of Champions League football? And we're going to go through this 5 games at a time. So game 1, a 3-0 victory at home to Fulham, followed up by a convincing 3-1 victory over Brentford. And of course, Füllkrug scored yet again. Up next though was Liverpool, and after a 20th minute red card from James Ward-Prowse, we did fall to 1-0 losers, before facing Ipswich in a proper ding-dong battle where we managed to get the victory 3-2 thanks to an 87th minute Jarrod Bowen winner. And well, maybe our form was dwindling because we had just beat Ipswich, we had lost to Liverpool, and now we have lost to Everton as well, with Abdoulaye Doucouré scoring in the 3rd minute. We just couldn't get back in to this game. And maybe all these games are catching up. We have just about snuck ourselves back into top 4 football. 33 games played, 61 points. And I mean, you never know, we still might win the league, but really we are looking to secure top 4 football, and Füllkrug is just 4 goals away from Haaland. And well, there isn't really a better way to bounce back after 2 defeats and a narrow victory in the last 3 games. An absolute battering of Crystal Palace, who battered us at the start of the season, and so far this has become the Thomas Souček show. He's grabbed 2 in 35 minutes. He's going to grab a 3rd in this game as well. Emerson gets it into Füllkrug though, first up to make it 3-0. Before Crystal Palace do grab a goal back, Almqvist on the ball finds Will Hughes to find Riviera to the left-hand side for Daishi Kamada to make it 3-1. But the hat-trick for Thomas Souček was coming. Kudus whipped it in. The big man at the back stick made it 4-1. And an absolutely fantastic victory. That is the sort of morale booster we needed. Before then losing 3-1 to Newcastle, and another red card. It seems to be getting done by these. This time Mohamed Kudus in the 44th minute. We then drew 1-1 away from home against Leicester. 2-2 against Brighton, who earlier in the season we beat 4-0. Ferguson scored in the 89th minute and Odell Ofia in the 94th. At this point, we are 6th. And if we don't win this last game, there is no chance of us getting Champions League football next year. Well, lucky enough for us, we were facing up against relegated 19th position Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Aguerd got us off to 1-0 winners early on before another corner whipped in from James Ward-Prowse for Kurt Zouma to make it 2-0. Wolves, however, are going to put the pressure on, making it 2-1 after a dancing run from Pedro Neto. Tavernier scores, and the game was down to just 1 goal lead. But we made it 2 again. Paqueta and Füllkrug linking up before Kudus fires home to make it 3-1. Wolves are going to grab another goal back though. Gonçalo Guedes finds Pedro Neto, who scores to make it 3-2 and tried to give Wolves a last day victory. It wasn't meant to be, and we won the game 3-2. And quite nicely, other games went our way as well. Manchester United were the team we needed to beat. Well, they played City on the final day of the season. They lost, we won, and we come 4th on 69 points. And West Ham are qualified for the Champions League. So this rebuild file, if you are a West Ham fan, is going to be great fun. You can pick up the exact team they have got in real life, and you're in Champions League football. The question is, are you going to be FA Cup winners as well? And when I take you back all the way to April, we are facing up against Manchester United away from home at Old Trafford. And Anthony, actually scores a goal, which, is a surprise for us all, but it was a pretty nice one as well. But we are going to grab a goal back. A great hold-up play there from Nicholas Füllkrug, setting up Lucas Paqueta down at that left-hand side. And we are going to grab another as well to make us 1-goal leaders in this one. Füllkrug again linking up nicely and then fires in from distance before Manchester United attempt to break our hearts. In the 94th minute, Joshua Zirkzee finds Casemiro to Shaw to Jadon Sancho. And the game is going to extra time. Don't worry, West Ham fans. We are going to grab the victory. It falls to Vladimir Kufau on the right-hand side. He batters it in to the top corner and sets up a semi-final for West Ham United. And who else is it going to be against other than Manchester City? Well, they beat us in the Carabao Cup third round. Could we grab some revenge? A penalty to them, a penalty for us, and straight into extra time. And City being stupid on the ball at the back. I love it. Danny Ings scores to make it 2-1 after a Kudus interception. And I thought it was going to be us being silly at the back, but a long ball forward. Foden flicks it through to Maxi Cornet. He's put on a West Ham shirt there. We make it 3-1, and we have beat Manchester City. We are going to the FA Cup final. And when we saw it was Spurs in the final, well, we knew it was a guaranteed trophy, didn't we? They aren't going to win anything anytime soon. So Mohamed Kudus scores in 16 minutes in the 6-yard box to make it 1-0. For Emerson cuts it back to Aguirre to find Ward-Prowse for a screamer of his own in the 49th minute to make it 2-0. And a third as well as Ward-Prowse hits it against the crossbar. Paqueta leaps up and above a 3-0 victory. West Ham United, 4th finishing in the table, FA Cup winners. And what I've got to say here is fair play to West Ham. The signings they've made in real life has got us here. Füllkrug, 19 goals and 4 assists. The signing of Somerville, a great rotation option, 5 and 3. Where is he? The next one, wherever he is. Max Kilman didn't play too much this season, but with 1 assist in around 17 games. Wan-Bissaka, 10 assists from right back was fantastic. Willian Rodriguez in a whole host of starts was brilliant in DM as well. And overall, this West Ham team and these 3 tactics are one of my favourite rebuilds I've actually ever done. In just 1 season, we've turned this West Ham team into an absolute force, and it's all been from actual real-life signings as well. So fair play, West Ham. If you want to see more of these 1-season rebuilds, there is a whole playlist down below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time.